Welcome to our Navaratri, the Science and the Bhakti of Shakti lecture series, and this is the second part of that video. So in this second part, what we're going to look at is how to worship to Shakti. So there are a couple of texts which are associated with this. So before we go down into the details of these texts, let's understand some of the words and some of the specific things which are used in these. So we're going to talk about sloka, mantra, sukta and stotra. So what are those? Just to give you a quick idea. So let's start with sloka. Sloka are the melodious words from any Sanskrit text, basically. So these are generally, sloka is referred as the two-line, a kind of a couplet, which is used in whenever you're writing any Sanskrit. So these are just the simple two-line verses, and it can go into various texts like from Valmiki Ramayana to Mahabharata to all these, they are slokas. And typical sloka will be like some of the prayers which we chant on a daily basis, like Tvameva Mata, Chapita Tumeva, Tumeva Bandhus, Chaskha Tumeva. That's a sloka basically. So melodious form of two verses. Next one is mantra. Mantra are the phrases that has a very strong and very high spiritual significance. There may be meaning attached to it, and there may not be any meaning attached to it, but they invoke certain energy basically within. So there are several mantras. They can be just one word or they can be very long sentences. So the smallest mantra is like Om, right? Just one simple word, but it has a very deep science behind it. So that's just Om. But there are other mantras like Gayatri mantra, right? Om Bhur Bhuvaswa. So that's Gayatri mantra, it goes on. Then Trayambakam Yajamahe, which is basically a Suddhi mantra. So mantra can be very long as well, and mantra can be just one word or a little bit of one or two or three or four words as well. So that's mantra, which has spiritual significance. Next one is Sukta and Suktam. Sukta is simply a Vedic hymn in praise of God and goddesses or deities. Next is Stotra. That's where we are interested today. Sometimes we call them Stotram, or Stutis. So these are the groups of slokas. So they are just group of slokas put together to be melodically sung. So it is always poetic in nature, and Stotra is normally a prayer for any god or goddesses, and they are groups. So for example, if they are in a group of 6, they call Shatakam. If they are a group of 8, they are called Ashtakam. Or if they are a group of 10, they are called Dasakam. So that's how the Stotram are written. So we are going to be interested in this particular presentation. We're going to talk about two particular Stotram. So they're going to come next now. Before we go down in there is a specific puja sequence. Now, people can pray and do prayers different ways. One of the Vedic sequence we have written here, you can see on my left side, where basically you start with the Suddhi mantra, then you do chant the 4 Vedas, their names, followed by the Gayatri mantra, and then chanting some other things, and followed by the specific sequence on starting with Devi Suktam, Durga Kavacham, Argala Stotram, and Keelak Stotram, followed by Devi Mahatyamam, the Chandi part, and then followed by Durga Chalisa, and finally Devi Aarti, and if you want to perform Havan and all that. So this particular sequence, the target of this audience is our students, our kids, basically those who are younger age, just to follow a particular sequence when you're sitting in the temple or during the Navaratri festival. So this is the sequence of the puja you can follow. Now, one of the very popular sloka which is out there, which we recite on a daily basis, Sarva Mangalye, Sive Sarvarth Sadike, Saranare Trambike Gauri, Narayani Namoste. This is basically, you are invoking the auspiciousness, it's a salutation to the mother goddess, the divine mother Shakti, the Narayani. So you're just saying, please help me whatever way possible, and dharma, artha, kama, moksha, all fronts basically help me to achieve those. So Sarva Mangalya, very popular sloka out there, and people recite this on a daily basis, dedicated to Devi. Now, another very beautiful Devi Suktam. Devi Suktam is really melodious, really nice sloka, and specifically for the smaller kids, they can recite these Devi Suktam slokas. It's very easy to memorize them. That's why we are including them here. And what they are the auspicious utterances to the goddess. So where did they come from? Their origin is Markandeya Puran, chapter 85, and Devi Mahatma, which is 13 chapters. So it's a chapter 5 of that. So this is very auspicious mantra and easy for recitation. And what is the history behind this is, there are two asuras, Shumba and Nisumba. They became so powerful that they fought with all the devatas and defeated them. They took over the office of the sun, the moon, Kuber, Vayu, Agni, Varun, all of them. They just basically expelled them from their offices and they took over. So having deprived of their kingdom, the devas, they got frightened. So where do they go? They go to the Devi. So they started praying the invincible Devi, which is the symbolism of the Shakti, the power and energy. So Devi is the form of Shakti, which is basically known to help everyone. So they go to the Lord, the Himmat, the Lord of the mountains, and prayed there for the Devi. So the mantras they recited in the praise of Devi become the Devi Suktam. What are these mantras? To understand them, basically, if you understand them, there are like the first 4, if you call them 4 slokas, right? The 4 slokas in a sequence, they follow a narrative, a kind of a pattern. So the first, if you, on my left hand side, if you look at that, there are 4 lines on each sloka. So what is happening is the last 2 lines of each sloka is getting basically repeated. So it's very common line, it just gets repeated. The only line which is changing is the second line in that. So for example, the first one is Ya Devi Sarva Bhutesu Vishnu Mayeti Sabdita. So in this case, it's just saying Vishnu Mayeti Sabdita. And next time it changes again, then it becomes Buddhi Rupen, Nidra Rupen. And after the 4 slokas, it basically becomes even much more repetitive. There is only one word is changing in the second line, and that word is written again in there. So you just keep replacing that word, so the 3 lines stay quite similar. So a typical way you can narrate them is Ya Devi Sarva Bhutesu, and then choose the word Shuddharupena Sansita. Namastashay, 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 Namo Namo. Next time choose another word. Ya Devi Sarva Bhutesu Shakti Rupena Sansita. Namastashay, 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 Namo Namo. Like that, you just keep choosing these words from the list below, and then you're compiling the whole sloka. Now you get it, how easy it is specifically for the kids to memorize this. So Chuda Rupen, Chaya Rupen, Shakti Rupen, and Krishna Rupen, Shanti Rupen, Jati Rupen, Lajja Rupen, all these different forms. And what these are, different forms of the Devi, the mother goddess. So you're invoking that energy. So this is the Devi Suktam, very beautiful, very melodical, to be sung by everyone. Now, the 9 days significance. So when you're doing the Navaratri, so there's a specific sequence you're following during the Navaratri. So we have different texts, how to recite these texts. So what happens on the day 1, you recite the Durga Kavacham, the armor of the Durga, and Argala Stotram and Keelak Stotram. These 2 stotras, they go basically with the Durga Kavacham on first day you're reciting. And then second day onwards, you are reciting the Durga Mahatyamam, the Chandi part, or Durga Saptasati, the 700 sloka. So you're choosing chapters. So again, on the left hand side, it's clearly given a list of that, how it goes. From second day, it goes Devi Mahatyamam chapter 1 and 2. Third day, it goes Devi Mahatyamam chapter 3 and 4. Then goes on fourth day, chapter 5th and 6th. Fifth day, chapter 7 and 8. And sixth day, chapter 9 and 10. Seventh day, chapter 11 and 12. And eighth day, chapter 13. And ninth day, what you're doing is you're basically doing the Durga Chalisa, Devi Suktam, Durga Arti, Havan, Prasadam, all these activities. These activities can vary region to region, state to state, and culture to culture. People can just narrate different things. And on the 10th day, there's a Dasami. So on the Sarad Navaratri, there will be a Vijayadashmi festival people celebrate. And that's the day, basically, it's another whole lot of new activities goes on this particular day. So now we go into the first, basically, our text called Durga Kavach. So what is Durga Kavach? Durga Kavacham is that it's dedicated to Mahakali and its various forms. There are 56 slokas in this text, and Durga is the goddess of the Shakti, the power and energy, and Kavach means armor, right? So this armor is the power and energy, the armor of that. And so the question comes, right, why do you even need armor? Like, why do you recite this kind of mantra? So it simply says those who are frightened and having been surrounded by the enemies on the battlefield or burning in the fire or being in an impassable place, face calamities and have a lot of grief, sorrow, fear, evil, whatever problems you have, if you surrender to the Devi, the Shakti, when you're weak, if you invoke that energy within yourself and pray to the Mother Goddess Shakti, you are going to basically pull yourself out from all these troubles. So specifically when you're fighting a fierce battle, like imagine if you're with a sword, if you're in a battlefield, or with a, when Indian Army goes in a battlefield, when you're surrounded by enemies, you have to invoke that, you have to get rid of the fear, what you have inside. As a result, you see a lot of battalions in Indian Army, they have these two-word slogan of the Chandi, like Jai Mahakali, Jai Bhagwati, Jai Amba, like that they recite the Devi. And when you invoke Mahakali, it just brings that energy out of you, and you don't have any fear of the death at that moment of time, and you fight with all your power. So this is why this Devi Kavacham is very powerful mantra, basically sloka, the Kavach entire text which goes with this. Now, what's in it? So as we said, it's a 56 slokas. So let's quickly review all the slokas in it. What's happening there is sloka 1 to 2 is salutation to the Mother Goddess Durga. Sloka 6 to 8, it just simply defining that why one should recite these slokas. So as I said before, that it's basically whenever you are in a deep trouble and you have a fear of death, those moments of difficult time, you recite this, the Durga Kavacham. Sloka 9 to 42, describing the glories of the forms of Devi Durga and praying for the protection of the body, mind, all aspect of human life. So in that you're just praying the Mother Goddess. And Sloka 43 to 56 is benefit of reciting Devi Kavach, which we already explained to you. So this Durga Kavach, extremely powerful text out there. People recite this regularly and specifically on the Navaratri on the first day. The next text which is basically used, is called Argala Stotram. Argala Stotram, it's the dedicated to Mahalakshmi, which is the goddess for the wealth and prosperity, and it's her various forms. Basically, it's dedicated for that. There are 25 slokas in this text, and there are 2 extra slokas. Some authors have added, basically, some people claim that there are 2 more, so I wouldn't get trapped onto that. If you want to recite 2 more extra slokas, no problem there. Argala Stotram, what exactly it includes? So from sloka 1 to 11, forms of Durga and their names are described in this sloka. Sloka 2 to 24, these slokas describe the various ways of praying to the Durga, the mother goddess, the Shakti. These are all in praise of that. And then sloka 2 to 23, they are very unique in nature. So what's happening there is that they contain the following verse, which I'm going to recite next, is the second line, as a second line. And this line is getting repeated in every sloka. So what this is so beautiful, so nice. Rupam dehi jayam dehi yaso dehi disojahi. Rupam dehi jayam dehi yaso dehi disojahi. So this gets recited and repeated in every sloka onwards. So what this is simply saying, oh Devi, please grant me the spiritual beauty. Please grant me the spiritual victory. Please grant me the spiritual glory, and please destroy all my inner enemies. So, and then the final sloka 25, which is just describing the benefit of the reciting Argala Stotram. So, what are the benefit? Obviously, the having great Argala Stotram, one should then read, the great Stotra. It just, whatever problems you have in your life, the siddhis, the boons you are going to get if you recite this Stotram. That is the legend of this particular Stotram. Once again, it's a very easy one to recite as well. So next, the last one is, before we go down into the Devi Mahatyamam, the last stotra is Keelak. Keelak Stotram. So there's a legend behind it, basically. What happened is that when the Devas were fighting the war and they lost it, and then demons have took over, the Asuras have took over everything. At that moment of time, Shiva and Vishnu, they called for the help of Devi, they created, and then Devi comes for the help. And Devi is a feminine in nature, she's a female. So there is doubt in all the three lokas, in the minds of the people, whether Devi, can she really fight or not? So at that moment of time, when people were a little bit suspicious about it, then Shiva, basically, Lord Shiva summoned all the three lokas and pinned the underlying principle of the conscious form of Devi to all. So people understood when he explained the whole thing. So what he simply said is that you should read the Durga Saptasati, which explains how Durga will fight back, and Durga Saptasati refer to that, and then Durga Saptasati becomes the whole fighting narration of how Durga has fought the fierce battle. So he removed all the doubt from the people's mind. So that's why this Keelak Stotram is very important. It has only 14 slokas, and 1 to 14 it just talks about that when people had doubt and Shiva cleared their doubt. And then again it just talks about that, what exactly this Keelak Stotram is going to give you. Arogya means good health, sampada, wealth, and liberation, moksha from all your miseries if you do this. So when you're feeling weak within yourself, invoking Mother Goddess through this Keelak Stotram is going to help you as well. So that's the last Stotram we talked about. Now we will talk about the Devi Mahatyamam. So now we go into the Devi Mahatyamam. So understand one more time, I have explained a little bit in before as well, but let's understand one more time this in detail now. 700 mantras like Bhagavad Gita, it comes from Markandeya Purana. Markandeya Purana is one among 18 Mahapuranas, Purana text of Hinduism. It is also basically, it has about 9,000 verses and 137 chapters. The 700 slokas are mostly coming from chapter 81, actually not mostly, all of them come from chapter 81 to 93 and dedicated to the Mother Goddess Durga and its glories. And that's why it's called Devi Mahatyamam. Mahatma means the glories of the Devi. So what's involved in these? Navaratri, 1 to 9 days. And there are different chapters you can see basically right there. So on day 1, the destruction of Madhu and Katava takes place. These are the two demons. Day 2, 3, 4, the chapter 2, 3, 4 explains. On the second day, the destructions of Mahisasura, a buffalo demon, and then slaying of Dhumralochan which is on 5 and 6 chapter, and then chapter 7, slaying of Chanda and Munda, another two demons, and chapter 8 is about destruction of Rakta Bija, another demon, and 9 and 10, slaying of Sumba and Nisamba, another demon, and then from chapter 11, the hymns of Narayani, the goddess who defeated all these. There are hymns for the praise of the Narayani, and on chapter 12, characters of Devi's forms are described, and chapter 13, the story starts with a king and a businessman, so they are blessed on this particular chapter. So let's understand Durga Saptasati. Let's go a little bit in detail now what's happening in these 700 verses of Durga Saptasati, which comes from Markandeya Purana. Markandeya Rishi narrates. So there was a Rishi. Rishis are ancient scientists, and they're writer, they're author, they're like everything. They are basically, in this case, Markandeya Rishi is narrating a story to his disciple Bhaguri. He tells the story of Shavarni, who is the son of the Surya, and known as 8th Manu. So what is happening that he says that in the Swarochis Manvantara, there was a king called Surat. He ruled the entire earth. He was from the Chatra dynasty. His enemies were the Kola kings. He got defeated there and destroyed. His entire kingdom got destroyed. He took shelter in the hermitage of a rishi called Medharisi, living outside the jungle. There he meets. So here a king who got defeated and totally, kingdom is gone, went to a nearby jungle where the Medharisi is living. And that's where he meets another person, a businessman or merchant called Samadhi, who lost his wealth to his own family. Now, they both are kind of in the same difficult situations. So they are asking the Medharisi that explain us why we have ended up in this whole situation. What is this whole universe is all about? What is these miseries are all about? So they have tons of questions. And they're asking this to Medharisi, and that's where the Medharisi starts explaining that this entire existence and this universe is only possible when the Shakti takes a form called Mahamaya. Then he narrates the story how when Vishnu was in Yoga Nidra, very deep sleep, two asuras, demons, Madhu and Katav, and tried to kill Brahma. And Brahma, unable to defeat him, worshipped to Devi, and who came forward and woke up the Vishnu from the deep sleep and then killed both the asuras. So the story starts from there. So that was chapter 1 of Durga Saptasati. Then chapter 2 and 4, the Markandeya Rishi continues narrating the glories of the Devi Shakti. Long time ago, he explains that the Mahishasura was the lord of Asura and demons, and Indra was the lord of Deva. So you have two basically sides. One side is demons, Asuras, Mahishasur, other side Indra for the gods. There was a war between the Devas and Asuras for a full 100 years. And finally, the army of the Devas obviously got defeated, and the Mahishasura became very powerful and lord of the heaven. Devas had no power left, so they went to Shiva and Vishnu. Shiva and Vishnu created a female form called Shakti or Durga. Devas and other gods empowered the Devi with all the powers and the ammunitions and the weapons, everything they gave to this Devi, this Shakti. Then started the battle between the Devi Chandika and the Mahishasur, the demon king. Devi alone killed the entire army of the Mahishasur and finally slayed him too. So chapter 5 to 10, Markandeya Rishi continues narrating then the glories of Devi Bhagavati, Jagadamba, and many other forms of the Devi, and he continues to explain this in details. And she kills all then in between there are many demons are coming in picture, like the Dhumralochana, Chandamunda, Raktabija, Sumbhanisumba. All these different types of demons with different powers come into picture, and Devi takes different forms and basically kills them, all of them, in the battlefield, finally winning the battle. So chapter 11 to 12 then comes, where describes how Devas worship Devi Narayani and various characters of Devi form. And chapter 13, this is the final chapter, both the king Surat and merchant Samadhi, they understood the underlying the underlying reality of this universe, that how a Shakti takes the form and creates the universe, protects the universe. And then they got the answer for their own problems, and finally they were blessed, and they lived at the Medharisi's ashram, hermitage. So this Durga Saptasati is all about basically killing demons and fighting a battle, but there's a huge spiritual significance behind this as well, which we are going to explain to you as well. If you're performing a homa or yajna or a fire sacrifice at your home, so people practice these 108 names of different deities, gods and goddesses. Similarly for Durga, the Shakti, the mother goddess, there are 108 names as well. As you know, that 108 is just not a number. It has scientific and spiritual significance both. So like for example, 108, you can Google it as well, the earth to sun distance divided by the diameter of the sun is 108. If you take the distance of earth to moon and then divide the diameter of the moon, that's 108. And if you take the diameter of the sun and divide that by the diameter of the earth, that's also 108. So, and then we have 108 Upanishad, and there is a lot of 108 significance goes in life, So people call one is like a infinity, one is like a unity, and 8 is like a kind of infinity. It's symbol. If you look at the symbol of 8, if you flip it, it becomes infinity. And 0 is in between, is the complete silence, the nothingness. So there is a huge science behind this 108. 108 times we are narrating these. So the names of Durga, which is listed here, you can see all these names, you can chant them on a daily basis or specifically during when you're performing the fire sacrifice. So these are listed here. Then now let's understand the Navaratri is a very common festival across all India and even in the globe nowadays, across entire, and not every country has their own way of celebrating this Navaratri festival. Specifically, if you want to pick up some of the key things which are happening during Navaratri, is like pick up the West Bengal, there's a Durga Pooja takes place. Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, there's a practice of Golu, and it's like a dolls and figurine which are basically displayed, and that's Golu. And obviously, if you go to our Gujarat, and the Garba is the famous dance which is performed in Gujarat. Like this, every region has their own. Uttarakhand, they have their own region on traditions, basically, how they celebrate these festivals. So every state has their own way of celebrating the Durga. But what is common across all of them is the 9 days of praying, worshipping, doing arti, pujas and all that. That's very common, and also following the stories of the Durga for 9 days. So now we're coming closer to the end of our presentation. So now let's understand finally the what exactly the spiritual significance of this Durga. So far we have understood that what Devi Durga and its forms are, how exactly they work, how they defeat demons. But in reality, in essence, if you want to understand Durga or the feminine nature of this universe, the Shakti, the power and energy, so what is it? So there are 9 forms of energies, basically. So if you start from day 1, the Shailaputri, the first one is Shailaputri. Shaila means that which rises like a mountain. She represents the peak of any energy that a living can ever experience. So Shaila is that energy of human experience, which is the peak of that energy. Next day is day 2 is Brahmacharni. Brahmacharni, that represents the ultimate infinite form of the energy of this universe. It invokes the same energy within us where one develops the mastery of mind and senses, where one can abstain from food and water for so long time. It tells how to dedicate yourself when you want to attain something in despite having all the challenges in the life. So Brahmacharni represents that form of energy. Then we have Chandra Ghanta. Chandra is like Chandra is moon. It's simply Chandra means Chandrama, which is moon. Chandra is getting not on its own direct light, it's getting sun's light reflected. So it's very calm in nature. And Ghanta is a bell shape, a beautiful shape. So this is the form of the energy which is calm in nature, but most beautiful. So it is that form of Mother Divine, which is basically telling us, remain calm and cool in nature. Then comes the Kushmanda on the fourth day. This is the form of the energy that created this universe. This is the Adi Shakti, or the first energy. It is believed that she has created this energy with her smile. So it is fascinating that once you understand, if you have an energy, how to dedicate that energy towards a positive thing. So Kusmanda is that creation of the universe, that energy, which if you have a form of energy, if you have that energy, how to remain positive with that. That's the beauty, that's the message comes from the mother goddess Kusmanda. Then the Skanda Mata. Skanda is that, Skanda is the name of, Skanda is the Kartikeya, the Lord, and his mother. So this is the motherly form of energy which takes care of this universe. And Katyayani, it is the form of energy that forms the lives and destroy the negative energy and darkness. So Katyayani is that which removes the darkness from this world and all the negativities from the world and this universe. And Kalaratri. Kalaratri is that dark, deep, dark energy that bonds the dark matter, right? It glues the entire universe together. They say if you take out the dark matter, universe will just fall apart. So similarly, the dark energy is that bonds the entire universe. So Kalaratri represents that darkness, but same time it holds everything together. So it brings solace and comfort and life to this universe. So Kalaratri is that. And Mahagauri. This is the most beautiful form of the energy which liberates from all the bondages. And Siddhidatri, the final day, ninth day, this form of the energy which fulfills the desire, which makes things possible. So this is the energy when applied to a right purpose, right cause, this energy will turn into some good purposes. So this is the energy which fulfills the wish. And that's our Siddhidatri on the final day. Now let's look at the spiritual significance of the Durga Saptasati. Remember, we gone through the Markandeya Purana, the 13 chapters, the 700 slokas, and there are so many demons or asuras in this entire tale of Durga, how she is defeating all them. So in a battlefield, she is defeating them, but do these asuras or demons have some significance in our spiritual life as well? So the answer is yes. They do. So as per the Purana text, what are these? So if you take the first asura, Madhu and Katava, Madhu is the craving and Katava is the aversion within us. So if you want to kill any demon with your own positive energy, then the craving and aversion which you have, that's the one we should be killing it. And then the Mahishasura. Mahishasura is that representing the laziness, that dullness which we have all the time within us. So we need to kill that demon within ourselves. And then the Chanda. Chanda is without body. Only talking, no actions. So it's just the bad quality of a person when one just keeps talking but without performing any actions. So if you have that quality, you want to kill that quality within, that's Chanda. And Munda is exactly opposite, without head or brain. So you're just performing actions but without any knowledge, without any understanding. So the bad quality of a person when you perform actions without any thought, without any thinking, this is what you really need, the whole body and the mind to perform actions and also have a deep planning and thought process. So this is telling us we need to basically kill those demons within ourselves. And the Sumbha is basically simply means that doubting yourself. Many times doubting in our own capabilities, that what we can achieve in this life, what we can do, with all the potentials we have, if we have doubts, if we put ourselves in a very small, rate in the market, if we don't price ourselves well, nobody's going to pay the higher price than what we sell ourselves for. So doubting your own abilities is not good. Sumbha represents that. That is something we shouldn't be doing. And Nishambha is completely other way, that when you have doubt within yourself, you will doubt everybody else out there. So Nishambha is doubting others. So Sumbha and Nisumbha are those qualities where you're doubting yourself and doubting others. And we shouldn't do that. And so Navaratri is telling us we need to kill those demons ourselves. And Rakta Bija. In Rakta Bija, what happened that about these demons, wherever his blood fell onto the ground, a new demon arise. So it's like our past karmas. If you perform a bad karma today, you're leaving that blood kind of spot there, and that's going to come back, create another demon for you in future. So perform good actions in the life. Otherwise, you're going to leave something behind, and karma, law of karma is going to come back to you. Like that, every time you do a bad karma, it's going to turn into a demon for you in your own life. So performing good karma, that's what the Rakta Bees is telling us. So Rakta Bees, that's the spiritual significance of that. And Dhumra Lochan. Dhumra Lochan is another demon out there in the Durga Saptasati, which means Dhumra means it's like having a very unclear, and Lochan means eyes, the vision. So when you have unclear vision, you can't see things very clearly. You have doubt, you have many problems. So to avoid that, have a clear vision, what your clear vision is. So kill that Dhumra Lochana, what you have inside. So Navaratri is telling us the significance of all these demons. When you try to understand their spiritual significance, you can apply all these qualities within yourself. There are various books related to Shaktism and the worship of the Divine Mother Shakti. Let's quickly go through that list, what we have compiled together. There is, obviously, we discussed about Durga Kavacham, the armor of the Durga. When you're in deep trouble, problems, that's where you recite this Durga Kavach. Recite every day, but specifically during the Navaratri. Argala Stotram, same thing, recite during the Navaratri or separately. And Keelak Stotram. 3 Strot, Durga, Argala, Durga Kavacham, Argala Stotram, Keelak Stotram. 3 of them. Devi Suktam, again, very beautiful verses. Very good one for students out there. They can, and the young kids, they can learn this. Devi Mahatyamam of Markandeya Puran, another one. This is called Durga Saptasati. This is also called Chandi Part, the 13 chapters, the 700 slokas of the Markandeya Puran, which is 1 out of 18 Mahapuranas of Hinduism. So beautiful, again, 13 chapters, 700 slokas, recite them during the Navaratri. You can recite separately as well. Then there are 2 other major Puranas which talk about the Mother Goddess, Devi Bhagavad Puran and Shiva Puran. After that, there is a beautiful text written by Adi Guru Sankaracharya, Saundarya Lahari. Read through that as well. Beautiful text out there. Lalita Sahasranamam, another beautiful text. Durga Chalisa, beautiful Hindi one, and I think there are more regional language one available as well. The 40 verses, basically called Chalisa, 40 verses, and then Durga Aarti, and then there are many slokas which are in praise of Devis. So these are the just few texts and slokas and mantras, and all these are basically associated with Devi. So read through them, bring them in your practice, and invoke that Shakti within. Now we are in the final leg of our lecture today. Let's summarize what we have learned. So in Hinduism, right? In Hinduism, our ancient rishis were scientists. They understood the whole nature and this universe, how exactly it works. When they found something really powerful out there, they brought it into a tradition. They made it part of our tradition in such a way that we don't even have to think, and it embeds as part of our daily life. So we practice it even without understanding many times its reason. So the thousands and thousands of traditions which are emanating from the 140,000 scriptures of Hinduism, many of them today we don't understand science behind it. But that does not mean there is no science behind it. There's a deep, deep science behind it. It all basically, somebody needs to go and explore that and write paper and abstract on it. Similarly, in this case, the Navaratri, which we are discussing today, has a deep science behind it. And the science is that Navaratri is attached to the weather pattern changes. During this time, our immune system becomes weak. So Navaratri helps strengthen our physical, mental, and causal level. 3 levels it's helping us. And it's building the whole immune system so that the body is ready for the next weather pattern and new diet. Navaratri also has a strong spiritual, ritualistic significance in Hinduism. It is the most colorful festival out there for Hindus. And even today, the whole world is adopting. You can see people are dancing in Garba all the time. So it's the rich heritage of our thousands of years of ancient tradition. In Hinduism, the Shakti, power and energy, is the feminine nature of this universe. So Shiva is the consciousness and his consort is Shakti. So Shiva and Shakti, they are basically one, and Shakti is just the manifestation of that in the form of energy which creates this universe. Hinduism do not discriminate between male and female, and it puts them equal. And that's why Shiva becomes the Ardhanarishwar, the half male and half female, half masculine, half feminine nature of the universe. Worshipping Navaratri can be done various ways. We learned that about various Stotram, Suktam, Slokas and Stutis and the whole puja sequence. So read through that. And there's another good thing that we have developed a web page. If you visit our web page, eyogigurukul.com/Navaratri, there is a lot of resources we have put out there. So you can see we have our students have written the stories of 9 days, each day for each Durga forms of Durga. There's a story there. There's 100 names of Durga, Devi Suktam for all the Suktas are there, all the Stotrams are there, the whole Durga Saptasati is there. We have added Markandeya Purana there and 51 Shakti Peetha there and Lalita Sahasranamam there. So there is a ton of information out there, and if you're looking for more, shoot us an email. We'll try to add that. So if you like our video, then please subscribe to our channel, and our website link and other details are below in the description. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we look forward to see you in the next one. Thanks.